Well, hello, wealthy women. It is Coach Tamara here from Wealthy Woman Every Day. And I am so inspired and thankful to introduce my next guest. She is an amazing woman with such a mission based business set to help and be of great service. And so, you know, rather than me share more, I'm going to pass over the camera and the mic and have her introduce herself to you. So go ahead, let us know who you are, what you do, what is your big why, and how can tell us a little bit about your programs and how you help make transformations in other women. And then, of course, let us know where everybody can find you.
Hello, Tamara. First of all, thank you so much for having me. My name is Leticia Renee Francis, the survival mode disruptor. And I am a trauma recovery mentor. I am also a keynote speaker, a podcaster, and an author. And I talk all things residual impacts of trauma. So, a little background about me and why I started my business. I was a survivor of teenage domestic abuse. I was groomed from the age of 14 by a man that was more than twice my age. And that relationship ended as a result of me being stabbed as when I was 21. I then spent close to 20 years trying to piece my life back together. I ended up in multiple bad relationships. I ended up being arrested on my corporate job. And I grew beyond that. I focused on my healing. I moved to another country and I did really well in my career. However, I was living the residual impacts of trauma every single day for decades. So I started this business and the awareness around the residual impacts of trauma, which land us in survival mode, simply because had I even known that I was living from a trauma based place, I think life would have been a lot different for me. And I wanted to disruptively have conversations around how trauma shows up in our lives, how it impacts us, how it impacts the world around us, how we view the world around us. And yeah, I focus on helping high achieving women move beyond their trauma, move beyond the survival identities they picked up as a result of the experiences they have, and truly thrive, take radical ownership of their lives, and take control back.
I mean, this is such important work because there's all different levels and types of trauma, and it can really keep someone so stuck where they cannot move forward. And you're helping someone, peel back the onion so that they can really find and fulfill their potential and not be blocked by, understandably so, things that can naturally block somebody. So, um, share a little bit, like maybe about how your program or programs might be structured a little bit, so that we know, what it will entail a little bit working with you.
Absolutely. So I focus on helping women exit survival mode, which is why I call myself the survival mode disruptor. And that is focused on my proprietary model, the survival mode exit plan. That plan has three phases. First, self-awareness. We can't change what we cannot see. Second is reprogramming, being able to challenge the narratives that we hold for ourselves, challenge our beliefs, challenge our conditioning so that we're showing up in a healthy way that actually serves us. And third is a reinvention. So I have a monthly membership as well as a one-to-one program that I work with women with, walking them through those phases, which actually is 6 steps. But I walk them through those phases so that they can put down the survival identity that they picked up and start living a really empowered life. Um, a lot of people are unaware of what survival identities look like. And I know for a very long time, I would have classified my survival identity as part of my personality, but it was really a trauma response to the things that I've been through. So I really help women work through those trauma responses, work through the things that have kept them stuck for years, help them release the trauma, because as we know, trauma lives in our body. And then set a path forward that really allows them to thrive, to finally take radical ownership of their lives. And that includes redefining success, revisiting our goals, and realigning with our values significantly. But first, we have to do the trauma work, which is where the self-awareness and the reprogramming comes into place. So I do work very heavily with women to help push them forward. I've had clients, you know, build businesses as a result of working with me, go back to school as a result of working with me, change career, all of which they felt stuck in doing because of the trauma and how it was showing up in their lives.
And it's amazing. It's like the work that you're doing, it's almost like someone gets to know themselves for the first time, maybe in such a long time. Like they get to meet themselves that they didn't even know that they were this wonderful new way of being because they were just kind of layered in that trauma. And they just, like you said, thought that was their identity. And I mean, what a beautiful breakthrough. It's like a metamorphosis, really, to be able to come from out from under and fly. And I mean, I think what a gift that you are giving to others to help them do that. Because the thing is also the awareness recognition. Some people, like you said, you don't even realize you're in it until someone from the outside can help you see it and break you through so that you can start to do the work. And this is
Absolutely.
any type of trauma. It can be financial trauma, health, anything that we go through, relationship stuff. I mean, I don't think that you can really walk through this world without having any type, even like online bullying. These are
Mhm.
traumas. So there's a laundry list of different types of ways, little, medium, small ways, all different types of ways that we are emotionally affected. We still try and show up with a can do attitude and spirit. Meanwhile, there's something that is, and it just can hit a wall and, and continue in a cycle. And I just think that the work that you're really doing to help somebody shake them out of that block, basically, it's like a block, the freedom that is on the other side of that is amazing. And I
Mhm.
have mentioned this even before. I mean, my trauma had to do with a financial block because someone really did me wrong financially and I lost because of it. And it had a really dramatic effect on me where I was stuck. I lost the ability in a way to kind of have that ambition I always had to make money. And it was because the block was it was pretty much like, well, why bother making money? I'm just going to lose it anyway. And I didn't realize that this was really happening. I just started to think, am I being lazy? Am I just not on point? I didn't know what my problem was. And I was lucky that I got moved to be taken to a coaching seminar. And I was determined because I was kind of stuck with this for about 2 years. And I was determined to get on stage and get the help. And within 15 minutes, this coach recognized it and helped me recognize it. She didn't do the work for me, she helped me see it and then kind of pulled me out of it. And I felt like, whoa, in 20 minutes I just got clarity like that, and my life forever changed with the financial block that I had. It was gone. And I thought for 2.5 years, I meditated. I thought I criticized myself. I didn't understand. And so I just say this because there's the word trauma. I think sometimes people think it's always something gigantically horrific, and it is. And God bless those that have had to endure that. But it can also be different levels. And,
Mhm.
anything that is blocking us from our potential in some way has a story behind it. And I love that your work is get that story exposed so that you can see it and let's work on improving and making things better, right? So it's like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And part of the reason why I do the work that I do is so many people don't recognize with being traumatized,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
They think it has to be big T trauma. Well, I wasn't sexually abused, I wasn't
yeah,
raped, I wasn't this, I wasn't that,
yeah,
so I'm not traumatized. It can be something, like you said, very minute. Trauma to me, in my as I define it, is something that changes the way that you view yourself and the way that you view the world.
yeah,
And that
yeah,
is as simple as that. And it puts
yeah,
us in a state of where we are constantly in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And if we
hmm,
don't challenge that, we go on for
yeah,
many years often living as a half shell of ourselves because we've been
yeah,
changed as a result of our experience.
yes,
And like you said, I mean, so many of us, just about everyone. I mean, if you look at COVID
yeah,
was worldwide trauma, and we are
yeah,
still 5 years later piecing back the pieces. Some people think they've moved on, and they really haven't. They struggle with social anxiety, they struggle with forming new relationships. That came as a result of
yeah,
what we went through, and so trauma, it's very vast in how it
yeah,
reaches us, but
hmm,
the way it shows up in our lives is very common, and we have very, very big commonalities when it comes to navigating our life post trauma, which is why
yeah.
I do the work that I do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it really is that whole idea about anything that's blocking you basically to be your best, most happiest, fulfilled self, needs to be figured out and improved upon so that you can really go after the big goals and intentions you have for your life and lead that life in a upbeat, positive manner. So okay, we're going to start the success questions, but before we do, tell everybody your website so they know where to find out more about your beautiful work that you do.
Absolutely. www.leticiareneefrancis.com. LeticiaReneefrancis.com. And that there you'll find information about working with me one to one, my membership, my book, as well as my podcast, Survival Mode Disrupted.
I love it. Okay, so here's one of the I think the first question is great because it is really about bringing yourself into a forward positive energy, to shift that. And so I always like to ask my clients this. So, can you please share in detail, because this is also very inspiring to others considering or in the journey of, but can you share in detail how you feel successful and wealthier because of building, and when I mean wealthier, I mean in all aspects of life, because of building your own business?
Absolutely. So I was a person from very young that was labeled too blank. So I was too much, I was too loud, I was too opinionated. I had too much attitude. And I moved into the corporate world where I had to pack myself away as I got into the building every day because I knew if I showed up as myself, I would not be accepted. So building my business, first of all, allowed me to lean into my too muchness. I, I've labeled myself a disruptor because I've been disruptive all my life. My business allowed me to own who I was and step into true authenticity. No more packing myself away, showing up in my strength, being able to leverage my experience um, for a greater good. I believe that all of our stories today become the masterclass for someone tomorrow. And I've always known that I'm here to change the world. So I have leveraged my too loudness, my too opinionatedness, my too muchness into a business that allows me to stand very firm in my beliefs and help others move themselves forward. And that to me is success, being able to show up every day as myself, not having to pack myself away, and to use what society will label as a flaw as my unique selling proposition.
Ooh, USP girl.
Yes. And that has brought me so much happiness, so much contentment, so much fulfillment. And I had a great job. I worked in commercial insurance for 13 years. I got to the pinnacle of my career. I was working at Lloyd's of London. For those who don't know, that is the birthplace of
Ooh,
insurance. I was running a multinational team. I was doing really well, but I was never happy.
yeah.
And today, I am serving high achieving women, helping them move beyond their trauma, seeing the transformation as a result of my work, and I could not be happier or
Oh,
prouder or
I
more wealthy. I am full of abundance,
I
and
love.
that to me is everything.
That was probably one of the best responses I have heard. It is amazing because basically what you just described is freedom to be yourself, and how that when you go for it, even if you don't know how it's going to work out, if you are on point and true to yourself and keep moving forward. I often say this in a lot of my podcast episodes, interviews, you will find it. And that happiness, that feeling of being of service, is the best form of wealth that there is. And the dollar wealth will follow that. So I love that,
Absolutely.
because you gave up a cushy, secure corporate job, and I'm sure you had to hear it from the bleachers, people saying, what are you doing? Are you, why would you do it? All the things. So you had to go through all those with the conviction in yourself to, you were on point and you knew it. And so for all of those women out there that you feel a little wavy sometimes, because you don't see the whole thing working out just yet, I tend to say, if it's in your heart, it's meant for you, and just follow that lead. So great, I love this, beautiful. Okay, next question. How do you go ahead and practice what I call wealthy woman everyday activities? What rituals, self-care, wellness do you feel that you are a better person because you've done them? And when you don't do them, you feel like, this day's a little off.
I start every day with gratitude.
Yeah.
I give thanks every day for the ability to open up my eyes and be impactful in the world. That is number one. Um, what what we focus on is where our energy goes, and oftentimes in life we tend to get caught up on the things that we don't have. So I always focus on the things that I'm grateful for, no matter the circumstance. I've been through a lot. And so gratitude has kept me grounded.
Yeah.
Gratitude has kept me moving forward because it's always evidence that I am blessed, that I
Yeah.
have another opportunity in life. Another thing that I do is a lot of uh the word has escaped me in this moment, but I do a lot of, give me a second.
That's okay. Take your time. Grounding, meditation, self-reflection,
I
all
do
of
a lot of
those things. Yeah.
self-reflection, but one of the things that I focus on is staying focused on my goals. So I do a lot of scripting. I
Mm.
script my future. Before I even wrote a book, part of my scripting was I am a best-selling author that is well sought out. This was even before my book was made. So I do focus heavily on my long-term goals, and I
Okay.
show up as the woman who has already achieved them. So,
I love it.
it's every day I script, every day I set a path forward of what I'm working towards, which also helps me to stay focused and stay intentional with my actions. I do heavily believe in um, intentional action, because who has time to waste? None of us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I ensure that my actions every day are aligned with my goals. And I do a lot of what I call delulu.
I love.
Thinking. I think so big. I've had so many people in this space tell me I am delusional, and I own it.
I
I
love that.
believe that if your dreams are not scaring you, if your goals don't scare you, they're not big enough. So my dreams are huge. When I talk about where I'm going to be in 10, 15 years, I talk about huge goals that to somebody who doesn't believe in themselves seems delusional. But I believe in myself. I believe in my purpose in life. I believe in the change that I'm going to make in the world. And I stay focused on that. And if someone calls me delusional, I'm like, yes, I am. But I'm going to get everything that I know that I deserve.
Oh, I love this. And you know what? It reminds me from the earliest age, I loved reading basically self-help books. And one of my first favorite authors was Zig Ziglar. And I remember him saying something like, shoot for the moon and you'll fall among the stars. So like overshoot, because even if you don't hit the moon, you're still gonna reach some high goals because you had such a big reach. So don't make small little goals that aren't so exciting or inspiring. And yes, maybe sometimes there's a little bit of it's like a muscle building. You need to take a little bit of baby steps to realize that, oh wow, I did achieve that one. Okay, let me make the next one a little bit bigger. And that's fine. But the point of what you're saying is just just you, who are you to say that your big dreams will not come to be? And when you think it's not meant for you, think about all of the people out there that are living some gigantic magnificent experience that are major dreams coming true. Well, they're just a human being too. So as you, why not you? Why not you? So love that answer as well. Okay, more practical, do you think that there is any qualities that are a definite that someone wanting to start their own business really must possess?
Definitely resilience, right? Being a business owner versus being an employee are two vastly different things. And there is a need to stay focused on your goals despite the outcome. Oftentimes, when we are employees, we get hung up on the outcome and easily derailed from the things that we want to do. Maybe we're going for a promotion and maybe our KPIs are not really matching the level that we need to be at in order to be promoted. And instead of working harder, we kind of just stop. When you are building a business, there is no stop button. And yeah, you get to take rest, you get to define how your day looks, you get to define how you show up in that space. But there needs to be a resilience, and the ability to let go of an outcome,
Yeah,
which is why I talk about the intentional action. If you are breaking down your goals efficiently and knowing everything that needs to be done in order to reach your goals. If one small step doesn't work, being able to pivot, find another solution, and keep moving forward is key
yeah,
for building a business, a successful business, a long-term business.
yeah, absolutely. It's like a living, breathing entity, and you'd never arrive. The
Mhm,
idea that you arrive and you finally made it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't really exist because you're meant to evolve. And as soon as you achieve one part of your business that maybe before didn't exist, and then all of a sudden you brought it into like you birthed it basically, and then you're like, okay, this is so great. What's next? And
mhm.
so you will always be evolving your business, which is a beautiful thing because it keeps you invested in your life experience and being of even bigger service to others. So, one thing I'm noticing, and I think that this would be great, this question is you have, like you said, you're a disruptor, you're a big thinker, you will own it, right? How did you come to even get this kind of confidence? How did that happen? What did you do to build that confidence? Especially considering you had a little bit of a rough start. So, like, there are some people that might really shrink with that. You expanded. So, what? where does this major, beautiful confidence come from? If you could help shed a light on that, because I'm sure that if you bottled it, people would buy it. They want this confidence.
So my confidence started probably in a negative way, right? I talk about like negative motivation. I came from an environment where people did not believe in me.
Mm,
And that motivated me to prove myself. So
mm,
I have always been the one that grinds to show you that you are wrong. And as I grew and as I developed, as I healed, as I evolved, I managed to switch it so it wasn't so negative because once you are so focused on that negative motivation, if you don't have it, you struggle to operate. And I just internalized in a positive way the the limitations that had been set forth for me and showing myself constantly the evidence that I blew past those limitations. I superseded those limitations, even at my roughest points, right? So for instance, I went away to university, I paid for it and I was in my late 20s. Fresher, I paid for it. I worked three jobs in order so I can save the money to go ahead off to university. And I did really well. My GPA was really well. And then I had a health crisis. And I remember thinking this health crisis resulted in two Fs that semester. And I thought to myself, there's no way that I will even be able to get scholarships with two Fs, even though I had a great GPA prior to. But there was something in me that was like, well, we're not stopping her. I mean, you've come this far. You got to figure out a way to make it work. That year, I had to turn down scholarships. I got so many, and it was because I knew that I was deserving. So that is another element of my success and my drive. I know I deserve it. After everything that I have been through in life, and I mean, I've been through a lot, the stabbing was just a small piece of it. I've been through a lot and I have evidence every single time that I have overcome beyond my thoughts, beyond my expectations. So that is what drives me. That is what keeps me moving forward, staying focused on the action that I can achieve everything that I want to achieve, not because I think so, because I know so, because I have evidence that proves it to me.
I think I want to ask a question off the that's not on here, because anybody that's listening to this that may have gone through something that is really heavy on them, and they're not able somehow to summon up this power that you have, what can you say that to them that they should do immediately, right now? Immediately. They don't work with you, they don't talk to me, they're just all on their own and they figure this piece out for themselves. What can they do to start to move the direction of their emotional state to start to build a better habit, like right away?
So, a lot of us are familiar with affirmations. They are positive statements that um, helps us subconsciously achieve and manifest more. However, when we are in a space where we may be doubting ourselves and where our desirability isn't sky high, we don't necessarily believe that we deserve it or we're worth it or anything like that. I say start with affirmations, and these are positive, affirming questions. So, for example, I am rich is an affirmation that someone may use. An affirmation would be, how did I become so rich? And the reason why this is so powerful is our subconscious mind cannot resist the question. And if we are asking the same questions positively, because sometimes we can ask very negative questions, the brain will provide solutions and evidence for us. So it moves us from a place where we feel like we're lying to ourselves by saying, I am
Mm,
rich,
right.
to looking for a solution that will help
Mm,
us get rich.
wow.
And that the power is in the questions that we ask ourselves. Ask yourself questions, positive, affirming questions to help jig your self confidence into moving you into a place that is inspired, aligned action.
That's brilliant because that automatically creates hope. Hope. Because then it's like, oh, wait, if you can think of a solution, that means a solution exists. And so to have that solution begin to start is all you need to do is start, right? It's like working backwards. Okay. And it can be for any, how, what is the best way, or how can I get healthier? What is the most enjoyable way that I can make money in my business? What is the best way that I can deal with this relationship that I am currently having to participate in, and how can I maybe not lose my cool? What are some new ways I can? So it is putting the power back in the person who might be feeling so powerless. This is
Absolutely.
beautiful. I
Thank
love
you.
that. And thank you for that. So I just, because this is an important subject and there are all different levels of what people are experiencing. And just to know that just what you just did is give them something right now, immediately, that can change everything and be the start of something wonderful and new, and that they don't have to stay stuck in a spiral if they happen to be feeling that they're in a spiral. So thank you. I mean,
You're welcome.
that's brilliant, really. I get that. You know, you can almost pretend like like, I mean, this is, no, this is perfect. I love what you just said. We'll leave it there. Okay, and then my last question for you is, on those days, maybe, or even it could be more than days, when you're maybe feeling a little bit in the funk or not inspired, or just kind of blah, we all have those moments, right? How do you reconnect with yourself to find that inspiration again? That kind of gives you that, vitamin B shot and gives you back your inspired energy.
Everything that I do in this moment is not self-serving, right? I show up in a space so that I can help others. I show up in a space that I can be inspirational. I show up in a space where I hope that I can trigger someone's desire to heal. But when I'm in a funk, what I remember is that I have two young girls who watch me. I homeschool them. They watch me show up every day in my business. They ask a lot of questions, and what inspires me to keep moving forward. I tell people one of the reasons why I homeschool my kids is because I'm not raising anybody's employee. I am raising business owners. So I know that I have to show up as the woman that shows them that resilience is key, that failure is a necessary part of the journey, but it's not an option to fail. And that even in your worst days, rest is okay as long as you stay focused on your goals. So everything I do in life is to mirror the woman that I want my children to grow into. And
Right.
that isn't with expectation. That is just showing up as the best version of my authentic self that is here to change the world in some way or the other.
Ah, bravo. What a beautiful interview. I can't wait to get this out into the world. Thank you so much. Before we sign off, go ahead and tell them, everybody, your name, and one more time where that they can find more information out on you.
Absolutely. So thank you again. My name is Leticia Renee Francis. I am the survival mode disruptor. You can connect with me on my website, www.leticiareneefrancis.com, LeticiaReneefrancis.com. There you can find out information about my survival mode exit plan, my book, my podcast Survival Made Disrupted, my membership, and my one-to-one program.
I love this. Thank you so much. This is a very important interview. And please, to all the women out there listening to this, whether it's yourself or somebody that you know, please share this very important message with your tribe, because we all go through things. And the thought here is just find a way, figure it out, ask the right questions, get started in a more hopeful lane, and you will find, like one step at a time, just keep moving in that right direction. And you are a gift, and you are a blessing, and you have beautiful things to share and be in this world. And just find your inspiration, your voice, be your authentic self, and reach out and collaborate and connect and communicate. And yeah, I appreciate that you share this episode. I think it's a very important one for almost every single person that exists on this planet. We all need a little bit of a uplift at times in our life. So thank you again. This is Coach Tamara from Wealthy Woman Every Day. Stay inspired and be an inspiration. And I will see you next time. Bye for now.